Are you confused? Do you wish you had some reading strategies that will help you as you read? Well, I'm here to give you those reading strategies. I'm going to give you some before, during, and after reading strategies. Our first strategy is what we're going to do before we read. First, we have to decide what is the best way I could read, print or in my computer. When you use your technology, it should enable you to highlight and add notes just like you would on regular printed out. Our first before you read reading strategy is to put on our writing hats. Now that we have our writing hat on, we're ready to read and think like writers. In order to read like a writer, we have to ask ourselves a few things before we start reading. 1, who is the author?
Oh, I can do a quick search on that.
And once you have some background, you'll be able to understand how his or her positionality affect the perspective and purpose of the text. How does this author connect to the topic of the text? Is the author known for discussing this topic in his or her text? Reading strategy number 2, previewing.
Oh, previewing. Let me go get some popcorn. For what? To preview?
It's not those types of previews. For these previews, we are going to warm up our brain in order to mentally prepare ourselves. When previewing, we should pay attention to titles, headings, images, captions, and bold print. Let's practice previewing. Alright, strategy number 3, during reading. While we begin reading, we are going to once again put on our writing hats and read like a writer. In order to read like a writer, we must ask ourselves a few things. Am I the intended audience of this text? If not, who is the audience of this text? How does the audience influence or affect the decisions made by the author as he or she created the text? In order to read like a writer, we must be aware of the text organization and presentation, the author's writing style and voice, the author's methodology, or how the research was conducted.
I don't know what translanguaging means. Let me get my dictionary.
Wait. Before you go into the dictionary, there's a few things you need to know first before you go to try to solve the definition of this word. First, you need to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 4, how well do I know or not know this word? 1, I have never seen or heard this word. 2, I have seen this word but I don't know what it means. 3, I have some idea of what this word means. Or 4, I know what this word means and I have used it before. Alright, so if you give it a 1 or a 2, the next thing you have to do is ask yourself, does it appear in a title or a subheading? Yes. Is it a word in bold print? Does a word repeat throughout the text? Is it a content word such as a noun, a person, place, or thing, or a verb? It tells an action. If you answered yes to any of the previous questions, then we can first try to create our own definition of the word based on our surrounding information. Before you go to your dictionary, you will ask yourself, is this a cognate? Do I know this word in Spanish or another language? Do I know the Latin prefix or suffixes for this word? Can I know what this word means by just looking at the other text that surrounds it? Let's try to come up with our own definition of the word first. Now that you have your own definition, we can finally look it up in the dictionary. The next strategy is called passage clarification. When you come across a section of the text that you don't quite understand, you will place brackets around it. Whoa. You don't bracket the entire article. You put the brackets around specific sentences, paragraphs, or just sections that you're having trouble understanding. Once you do that, you will translate it.
Hey Siri.
No. We're not going to use Google Translate or Siri to translate. We're going to put it into our own words using our brains.
We have brains?
I usually just use Siri.
When we put it into our own words, we choose our own understanding of what we get from what we just read. But instead of just writing it out, you could also use the strategy of visualization, which is the next strategy we're going to be looking at. When reading, you can create visual translations or summaries of sections of the text. These visuals can be in the form of sketches, stick figures, graphic organizers, and concept maps. The next strategy is called making connections. As we read, we should leave our reactions on what we are reading. Consider using the following sentence starters.
This reminds me of the time my mom, neighbor, teacher.
Something similar happened to a character on TV / my best friend.
This makes me laugh, sad, angry, and happy because
This is similar to what I read in blank when blank.
Another strategy that you could use is called questioning. As we read, we should ask questions when we become curious about something. Consider using the following sentence starters.
I wonder who, what, when, where, and why.
I'm curious about blank because blank. Woo-hoo. We're done.
No, we're not. We need to do the after reading strategies. The first reading strategy that we do after we have done reading is called reading like a writer. So once again, we need to put on our hats to think and read like a writer. When we read like a writer, we must ask ourselves, who was cited? Can I read or view these sources to gain more information on this topic? Is there an author that appears in multiple times of the text? If yes, could he or she be an authority figure in this field? So, should I look into his or her work if I want to learn more about this topic? How were the sources cited within the text? Apart from direct quotes or paraphrasing, what other forms were sources referenced? And 3. If I'm not the intended audience of the text, why is this reading meaningful to me? How can I benefit from this text now or later? The final strategy we have is called the final summary. After we have finished reading, we should create one final summary to organize the main and most important ideas we got from the text. Your summary can be in the form of bullet point lists, a paragraph, and a concept map. Alright, now that we have learned reading strategies, do we feel prepared to read our next text? Now, before you go on, I want you to remember not to try to do all these strategies at the same time, otherwise you'll go crazy. Try to pick one from before, one for during, and one for after, and from there see which ones you're comfortable with, which one worked, and which one didn't. Alright, readers, let's put on our thinking caps and read like writers.
Where's my thinking hat?